Hey folks, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Hassan, and this is where my wife Sanise and we share our adventures traveling the world with a special focus on our life in Thailand. So now that I'm embracing early retirement, I can do that, right? This is where we move. So today, we're diving into something that's a big part of our recent journey, my experience trying to extend my visa here in Thailand. And if you're thinking about retiring abroad or just having Thai bureaucracy as an expat, you won't want to miss this. I'll share the highs, lows, and then some tips to make this process a bit smoother so you don't make the same mistakes we did. And if you get something out of this video, all I ask is that you hit the like button and subscribe for more on travel, retirement, and life hacks. It really helps us out. The two main topics in this video are the NonImmigrantOVisa extension and getting a Thai bank account. So I've separated the timeline for your convenience, so feel free to skip ahead to the section about getting a Thai bank account in the timeline below. So let's start from the beginning. So several months before traveling to Thailand, I applied for my 90-day NonImmigrantOVisa for retirement from the US. And I did it all online through the Thai embassy in Washington, D.C. I'll put the hyperlink down below. So the process wasn't difficult. I completed the application, uploaded a couple of documents such as my passport, a decent quality selfie using my cell phone, paid $80, and pressed submit. The application is pretty detailed, requesting things like my specific airline itinerary, but once all that was submitted, it only took several weeks for the embassy to issue the e-visa with the QR code. And once you get it, you have to enter Thailand within 90 days. A big piece of advice: don't submit your application more than 90 days before you plan to enter Thailand. You don't want to risk it expiring before you even get here. So we landed in Bangkok at the end of September, which means my visa runs out at the end of December. When it comes to the visa extension, Thai immigration stipulates the extension cannot be submitted until 45 days before the 90-day visa expires. So this put my extension around the second week of November. Until then, there are things that I can begin acquiring to prepare for the submission. I was excited to be here in Thailand again, but as you'll see, securing prerequisites for the extension isn't as straightforward as I would have hoped. So the first requirement by immigration is to complete the TM30 form. This is the form the landlords need to complete whenever foreigners stay on their rental property. So this is generally invisible to the foreign visitor since it's commonly completed by hotels and landlords. However, not every landlord will do it for whatever reason. So it's up to you as the foreigner to ensure that this TM30 form gets reported to immigration. And it's supposed to be done within the first 24 hours of your arrival. And that you receive a copy of the form since you may need it later like I did. The TM30 can be submitted in one of two ways. One, it can be completed online after creating an account on the website. This is easier of the two ways, but not necessarily better. Or the landlord can travel to immigration, that's Immigration 1 in Chiang Wataya in northern Bangkok, to submit the form in person. This is actually the better way since the immigration office will issue your landlord a handwritten TM30, which banks and other government offices are much more familiar with. When the form is completed online, the website also generates a copy of the TM30 directly to the landlord. So we had both versions, but whenever we presented both forms to government offices, they preferred the hand-signed TM30 form. So pro tip, always get the physical signature if you can. While at immigration, you can also request to apply for a letter of residence from immigration, which may be helpful later. That's actually a big hint. This letter is issued by the same office who issues the TM30 at immigration. They will issue a form to complete called the application for a letter of residence from immigration. So you complete it and show them a copy of your passport. And by the way, if you need to make additional photocopies of any documents, there is a photocopy shop on level 1 of the immigration building on the Midwest side of the building. They also make passport and visa photos as well. So do yourself a favor and make multiple copies of your passport and other important documents. Quick break for some fun facts you probably haven't heard. The world's largest water fight happens every year during Songkran, which is Thailand's New Year festival, where millions join in around the country. Also, pad thai, that iconic dish, was actually created in the 20th century due to a rice shortage, not centuries ago, believe it or not. Thailand was known as Siam up until 1939. About 90% of Thais are Buddhists, influencing everything from daily life to holidays. And rumor has it, Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok is haunted. Workers even built a spirit house to appease ghosts during construction. I don't know what it is with, Thai's fascination with ghosts. Halloween is such a big holiday here. I don't know why it is, but they have this fascination with ghosts. I have found the visa extension won't be as straightforward as I hope. My intention is to extend my visa through the retirement route, which means I need to meet the following eligibility requirements. The first is to be 50 years or over, too easy. Also, it must be granted a non-immigrant visa, that's an O or an OA. Next, evidence of monthly income of no less than 65,000 Thai baht, which is about $2,031 at the current currency exchange rate of $32, or a Thai bank account with 800,000 Thai baht, which is about 25,000 US at the current exchange rate. And you need to have it in the 2 months preceding the visa extension and 3 months after the extension. If you have an OA visa, you must have health insurance with coverage of no less than 3 million Thai baht for the entire duration of the stay. Insurance must be purchased through a website, or for non-Thai health insurance, it must be certified by your respective foreign embassy in Thailand. So this is pretty straightforward if you have the non-immigrant O and can meet one of the financial requirements. I will mention another common extension option. For those who are married to a Thai national, you have the option to extend your visa by way of the marriage visa. So even though I may not be eligible for this option, I looked into this process since some of you may benefit from this information. So this may require more paperwork compared to the retirement visa, and that's just due to the proof of relationship requirements. But there are some advantages as well, like not having as much money in the bank, which I'll get to. Here's what I found for eligibility for those who are married to a Thai national, and I'll list them here. First, you must be granted a non-immigrant visa, category O, have a legal marital relationship with proof of relationship. Here's where it gets a little specific. If the marriage is between a man and a woman, with the man as being the foreigner, then the foreign husband must have one of the following: an average annual income of 40,000 Thai baht per month, which takes about 1,250 US dollars at the current exchange rate, or have no less than 400,000 Thai baht, which takes about 12,500 US dollars, right? And that needs to be in a Thai bank account for 2 months preceding the visa to cover expenses for 1 year, or have a combination of an average annual income of at least 400,000 Thai baht for yearly expenses. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the combination looks like, but with regards to proof or evidence of relationship, this is what it looks like. In the case of registering a marriage performed in Thailand, you must have a Thai marriage certificate, or a Koror 3, and registration of marriage, or a Koror 2. This may require confirmation from your embassy stating that you are single and eligible to marry. In case of registering a marriage performed abroad, it's a different story. An official copy of marriage certificate and a record of family status, or a Koror 22, which is completed at your respective residential district office. Whether you pursue the retirement extension or the marriage extension, either route, you need a Thai bank account, which I will discuss at more length later. I will leave a copy of the full criteria and the description for both retirement and marriage extensions in the description. So when it comes to marriage certificates, here's where things get tricky. Having the original marriage certificate is not enough, since the Department of Consular Affairs requires a stamp of authentication from your respective embassy in Thailand and a certified translation. So I bring up the Department of Consular Affairs since this is the Thai department which manages foreign requirements. They also have the final say on foreign documents to be used for official purposes in Thailand, which includes a final review of all translated documents, again, for official purposes. They appear to be extremely particular when it comes to document translations. But going back to certifying a U.S. marriage certificate for my retirement extension, this quickly becomes a challenge since the U.S. Embassy will not stamp documents such as marriage certificates, birth certificates, and death certificates. We actually tested this. When we went to the Department of Consular Affairs in Changwantana, they were aware of the fact that the U.S. Embassy did not stamp certificates and informed us that U.S. marriage certificates required authentication stamp from the respective Secretary of State in which the marriage took place. And then it needed to get certified by the respective Thai consulate or embassy. So kind of difficult to achieve when you're already in Thailand. So if you are a U.S. citizen who married your Thai national in the U.S., then you should consider getting your marriage certificate authenticated by your respective Secretary of State and certified by the Thai embassy or consulate before coming out to Thailand. The process could take up to several months, but doing so can save you a huge headache. But what I found is it's not all doom and gloom for U.S. citizens who don't have this stamp of authentication. Or so I thought. I went to the U.S. Embassy's American Citizen Services in Bangkok, and they explained that as of February 2024, Thai immigration no longer requires authentication for routine documents to include marriage certificates when applying for visas. They even gave me a letter stating this, and I'll link it in the description below as it's in both English and Thai. I'm like, great. They just said, take this to immigration. But when I brought that letter back to the Department of Consular Affairs, the representative wasn't convinced. She said that that policy doesn't apply to their department and doubted if immigration would honor it without their stamp. It was pretty frustrating. So the next stop, since the consulate suggested I take it directly to immigration, I did just that. I went to immigration, the representative acknowledged the document and advised us to take the marriage certificate to our local district office in our neighborhood. And there we would need to complete the Koror 22, which is, Form TM22. Again, that's just the family status registration form. And once completed, to include it with our marriage visa extension application. So guess how that turned out? So when we inquired at our district office, unfortunately, their requirement for using U.S. marriage certificates mirrored that of the Department of Consular Affairs, surprise, surprise, which required authentication from the respective state the marriage certificate was issued. So I'm not sure how good this special immigration order that the U.S. consulate spoke of, but one thing appears to be true is that the precedents requiring the Secretary of State authentication for marriage certificates, that precedent is already set. That was pretty apparent to me. Even though Thai immigration acknowledged the contents of the U.S. consulate memo, I'm finding out that implementing the memo may be an exercise in futility, unfortunately. And that's just because there are other Thai government organizations involved in the process who may not have to adhere to that immigration order. It could be that the U.S. Embassy has more work to do with pushing this Thai immigration order. Or maybe they just have it wrong. I'd be curious to know if anyone out there has successfully used this marriage certificate without the Secretary of State authentication stamp. All right, before moving on, let's sprinkle in some fun facts about Thailand that most people don't know. Did you know that Thailand is the only country in Southeast Asia that was never colonized by a European power? They cleverly played colonial rivals against each other. Thailand was known as Siam up until 1939. Also, the Thai language doesn't have a past tense. They use helper words to indicate time instead. And finally, stepping on Thai currency is against the law because it features the king's image. You can't do anything to disrespect the king's image out here, the royal family. Now, shifting gears to another big requirement for visa extensions, getting a bank account in Thailand. So if you're on a tourist visa, forget it. Trying to open and maintain a bank account in Thailand will be an exercise in futility. You can try. What it requires is just a long-term visa. A non-immigrant O could be a 90-day or a 1-year non-immigrant OA visa. But lately, the Thai government is cracking down on banks because foreign scammers operating out of Southeast Asia, particularly Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Myanmar. You see it on the news every day here. It's a big issue. So this has led to innocent expats getting their accounts frozen, or I even heard of a few reports of some people getting closed. So on top of that, banks are making it tougher for foreigners to open up accounts in general. I've been to at least 5 different banks here in Bangkok, to include Bangkok Bank, Siam Commercial Bank, Kasikorn Bank, Krung Si Bank, and the Government Savings Bank. You know, that's the one with the pink logo. And almost all of them said I needed a letter of endorsement from my embassy stating why I need a Thai bank account. Really? Of course, US Embassy doesn't do that, and there's probably a couple other embassies out there that don't do that either. So one bank in particular stated they had 2 applications from foreigners which had to be approved from their bank headquarters in order for them to issue the account. So this tells me that this bank probably should be avoided altogether for the immediate future. Now I'll disclose which banks to pursue and which should be avoided later in the video. So I posed the bank issue to American Citizen Services, who confirmed they no longer issue bank letters and informed me that Thai immigration can issue this letter. So off to immigration in Cheng Watana again, to the 3rd floor where they handle the TM30 forms. The screening clerk asked for a copy of my TM30 and my passport. Once I showed those, they had me fill out a form called the application for letter of residence. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? When your landlord completes the TM30 form, go with them so you also can get just application letter for residence. And I'll link it in the description below. About 15-20 minutes later, boom, I got the letter. You can take that letter to the bank to support your application. The bottom line is banks are being extra strict right now and are issuing requirements which are difficult or in some cases just plain unattainable, especially if your embassy is like the United States where you can't get these bank letters. One bank just flat out told me just to find another bank. They didn't care, it wasn't their problem. But here's the good news. Except for one bank, which requires headquarter approval, each bank branch can be different. I tried one Kasikorn bank in a mall and got turned away, but another was more lenient. So before we dive deeper, time for more obscure Thailand trivia. So Bangkok's full ceremonial name is the longest city name in the world. Krung Tep Mahanakorn Amon Ratana Kosin Mahin Tara Atuyat Mahadilok Po No Paharat Rachetani Buriram Udom Rachetanewat Mahasatan Amon Piman Awata Sahit Sakatati Wata Witasanakam Prasit. I know I butchered this, but that's over 160 letters, folks. And Thailand has the world's longest reigning monarchy, with Chakri dynasty going strong. So Siamese cats, famous for their blue eyes and talkative nature, originated here in Thailand. The Thai flag's design means it can't be flown upside down. The stripes are symmetric. And by the way, it's very similar to the Costa Rican flag, just different colors. And guess what? There are over 35,000 Buddhist temples scattered across the country, each with its own unique history. So getting back to mine. In the end, I found a bank that didn't require all extra hoops. And they just needed my 90-day NonImmigrantOVisa stamp, which is in my passport, obviously a copy of my passport, a signed TM30 form from immigration. So speaking of the TM30, go back to the section of the timeline which focuses on getting the TM30 form for step-by-step instructions. And if a bank requests a letter from your embassy, offer them the letter of residence from immigration instead. Sometimes all they need is something stating that you are a long-term resident, which is not clearly stated in your visa printout. So this whole process has been a mix of adventure and paperwork headaches, but it's all part of building our retirement life here in Bangkok. If you're planning something similar, strongly suggest you start early, gather your documents, and be ready to visit multiple places. At times, this rigmarole can be a bit discouraging, to say it plainly. Remember, with some planning and patience, you can make early retirement abroad a reality. I'm not there yet, but I plan to. So as we returned to immigration, we realized they had this big, huge food festival going on. And we got there just before lunch, so it was getting pretty crowded, and the offices actually closed for lunch. We had an hour to go and check out this food festival. Really cool. We got something to eat. We had, both Denise and I had good entrees, but who would have thought they would have this at immigration? How cool is that? The prices were good and the food was delicious. This food festival was definitely one of the highlights of going to immigration. This is immigration, all right? You would never see this at a immigration. So wrapping it up, folks, I'll keep you posted on the full extension outcome. And in the meantime, if this video helped or entertained you, please like, and subscribe. We have more on healthcare and retirement, travel spots, and expat tips coming up. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.